The Elkasaites, Elkesaites or Elchasaites were an ancient Jewish Christian sect in Sassanid southern Mesopotamia. The sect may be related to the Ebionites. The Elcesaites are discussed by Epiphanius and in pseudo-Clementine literature. Patristic testimony. The sect is only mentioned in the commentaries on heresies by early church fathers. The name of the sect derives from the alleged founder, Elchasaites in Epiphanius or Elkasaites. Hippolytus of Rome records that in the time of Pope Calixtus I, a Jewish Christian called Alcibiades of Apamea came to Rome, bringing a book which he said had been received from Parthia by a just man named Elchasaites. According to Alcibiades, the book had been revealed by an angel 96 miles high, 16 miles broad and 24 across the shoulders, whose footprints were 14 miles long and 4 miles wide by 2 miles deep. This giant angel was the Son of God, who was accompanied by his sister, the Holy Ghost, of the same dimensions. Alcibiades announced that a new remission of sins had been proclaimed in the 3rd year of Trajan, and he described a baptism which should impart this forgiveness even to the grossest sinners. Hippolytus' commentary starts in Book 10, Chapter 8. In his next section, Hippolytus recounts that Alcibiades teaches the natural birth, pre-existence and reincarnation of Christ, which may relate Paulus Ginsburg to the Kabbalah concept of Adam Kadmon, and also that Alcibiades teaches circumcision and the law of Moses. Hippolytus then goes on at length to describe the group's teaching on baptism. For all sins of impurity, even against nature, a second baptism is enjoined, in the name of the great and most high God and in the name of his Son the great King, with an adjuration of the 7 witnesses written in the book. One who has been bitten by a mad dog is to run to the nearest water and jump in with all his clothes on, using the foregoing formula, and promising the 7 witnesses that he will abstain from sin. The same treatment, 40 days consecutively of baptism in cold water, is recommended for consumption and for the possessed. In his chapter 11, Hippolytus discusses in more detail the teaching of the book, including Elchasaites' Sabbatarian teaching and the instruction not to baptize under certain astrological stars. Hippolytus concludes his review of the Elcesaites in Refutations Book 10, ch. 12 with a general exhortation to avoid heresy which gives away no more information. Adolf von Harnack reads was proclaimed instead of has been proclaimed, and thus inferred that of special year of remission is spoken of as past once for all, and that Alcibiades had no reason for inventing this, so that Hilgenfeld was right in holding that Elchasaites really lived under Trajan, as Epiphanius supposed. Putting aside this claim of Harnack's, we see that the remission offered is by the new baptism. Eusebius records a summary of a sermon on Psalm chapter 82 delivered in Caesarea by Origen c. 240–250, which warns his audience against the doctrine of the Elkesaites. Eusebius's record of this sermon forms the second source on the group. According to Eusebius, Origen regarded the heresy as quite new and states that the group deny the writings of Paul, but claim to have received a new book from heaven. Eusebius Epiphanius. A century and a half later, Epiphanius of Salamis found it in use among the Samsians, descendants of the earlier Elcesaites, and also among the Osans and many other Ebionite communities. We learn further from Epiphanius that the book condemned virginity and continence, and made marriage obligatory. It permitted the worship of idols to escape persecution, provided the act was merely an external one, disavowed in the heart. Prayer was to be made not to the east but always towards Jerusalem. Yet all animal sacrifice was condemned, with a denial that it had been offered by the patriarchs or under the Mosaic law. The The prophets as well as the apostles were rejected, and of course St. Paul in all his writings. Epiphanius mentions as Elkasaites' brother a man called Jexios, and explains the brother's name as being derived from the Hebrew for hidden power, and Elkasaites the hidden god. Epiphanius records that the saints of the Elcesaites were two women, Martha and Martana. Ibn al-Nadim, the Fihrist of Ibn al-Nadim, an Arabic writer, c. 987, found Mughtasila, a sect of Sabians in the desert who counted al-Hasi as the founder. Scholarly analysis. It has been customary to find Elkasaite doctrine in the Clementine homilies and recognitions, especially in the former. The Catholic Encyclopedia 1911 calls this groundless and refers to the article on Clementine literature. The Cologne Mani Codex describes the parents of Mani, founder of Manichaeanism, as Elkasaites.